Harry Robinson, een jonge dirigent van heel veel populaire teenagerprogramma's. En we horen het liedje Are You Sure? Van en door de Allisons. Twee jongens van 19 en 20 jaar. 2 maanden geleden nog volkomen onbekend. En nu staan ze met dit liedje op de tweede plaats in de hitparade. Harry Robinson is dat. En we krijgen Are You Sure? Van de Allisons.
Goodbye, goodbye, farewell, farewell, I'm not sure what to do. So long, au revoir, it's hard, but I'll pull through. Are you sure you won't be sorry comes tomorrow? You won't want me back again to hold you tightly. Now are you sure it's not your foolish heart that you won't grieve if we're to be apart? You will see as time goes by, we'll grow lonely, you and I, dreaming of each other, and we'll cry. Goodbye, goodbye, farewell, farewell, I'm not sure what to do. So long, au revoir, it's hard, but I'll pull through. Are you sure you won't be sorry comes tomorrow? You won't want me back again to hold you tightly. Just stop and think, it's your decision now, for you're the one who went and broke the vow. You'll be sorry, wait and see, spend your life in misery, wishing that you had returned to me. Goodbye, goodbye, farewell, farewell, what is there to live for? Before you go, just think now, are you sure? Are you sure you won't be sorry comes tomorrow? You won't want me back again to hold you tightly in my arms.
En naar Engeland, het laatste land, het laatste liedje.
Light meter, that's what I'm saying.
Ah.
Is that a light meter?
No, it's not. No, it's another recording.
Oh, is that a sound recording, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
If I go there, how's that?
He's got a clapperboard.
Can you go that way another foot?
Yeah.
Christ, this is
Okay.
a real thing.
That's out of shot now, is that?
Yes, it
Is
is.
that?
Yes,
That'll be
it's out of
fine,
shot.
won't it?
All this modern technology.
Okay.
I was going to say, this is amazing, yeah, it is.
Peter Sellers,
It
Spike
was very
Milligan.
good. What I thought.
That's right, Peter Sellers, right.
Shot for the first time, then you
That's camera speed, Bob.
Okay,
Mark it.
the Allisons, 2 eyes, 1 take 1.
Steady on there, Bob. You okay?
So, John, could we just start off by asking you where you were born, and just say where you were born, etc. And
Right, I was actually born in a hospital in Chelsea, St Mary's Hospital, but from the very moment I was born as a child, I was brought up in Parsons Green in Fulham.
Bob, can you?
Yes, I was born in Trowbridge in Wiltshire because the war was on at the time, so all pregnant mums were evacuated out of London. So that's why I was born in Trowbridge, but I'm a Londoner really.
And John, how did the music start early on?
Well, to go right back to my first recollections, I discovered when I was at school, at primary school, or my earliest memory of realising music was interesting was about the age of 10 at primary school. This was Holman Hunt School in New Kings Road in Fulham, in Parsons Green, and country dancing. And I remember it was the first time I got praise for something like that, and the teacher said to me, "Oh, you're good. Oh, yes, we'll pick you out. Oh, you're good at that." And I thought, "Oh, I'm good at dancing." I didn't know. Anyway, and the next bit was still to do with school. I was obviously starting to be a dreamer, and I remember standing in assembly at about the age of 10, and I was at the back because I was one of the last classes just before you leave, and I remember precisely what happened. I remember we were looking out of the windows of our school, and there was a seagull floating outside the window, and we were singing hymns. And I remember thinking, how do they do that? and suddenly I realised the headmistress was calling me Miss Blackman. Do you remember her?
Yes, I remember.
Oh, that boy at the back there, would you come to the front, please? I thought, me? So I went to the front and said, this boy thinks he's too good to sing with the rest of us, so now he's going to show us how he can sing. I thought, oh no. And to the pianist, right, start the hymn again, and of course you can't. What a horrible thing to do. Well, I must have gone home and told my mother about it because it stuck in my mind. It didn't happen immediately, but one evening, several weeks later, she suddenly came home indoors from shopping or work or something, you know, and said, oh, I've been in to see the vicar, she said. I've put your name down, you're in the choir, you've got to go Friday for choir practice. And I don't remember thinking, oh no, I remember thinking, oh really? Well, we didn't go to church very much at all, you know. Anyway, I went to it, choir practice on Friday evening, and I thought, wow, I like this, and it was good. Oh, she said to me, I've got fed up with you singing all round the house and your voice going to waste, so I've been in to see the vicar. That was it. That's why she said, so go and show them how you can sing. So I went to choir practice, and that was it. And I don't want to jump over too much, but it was 2 practices a week, 2 services on Sunday, and occasional weddings. That was at the age of 11, October 1951. And it was like a boys' club. I thought it was lovely. To being asked to sing, and sing as well as you can, I thought, it's really exciting. I mean, I think music came before human speech. It probably explains it, you see. You're expressing yourself. And Bob joined a year later.
Yes, I did. What happened with me, I was 10 years old, and my mum used to go out shopping, and as young housewives do, she got chatting to a chap every so often, every other day, over the garden wall. And she happened to mention she'd got a little boy who liked singing, so that's me. And this chap happened to be the verger or something to do with the local church. So he said, oh, we need choir boys. They need choir boys up at St Dionysus. So he said, perhaps you could send your little boy along and he could see if he wants to be in the choir. So this was about 1950.
Yeah, and I remember our first meeting.
Yeah.
Because I've always been interested in lots of subjects, you know, so I don't remember particularly showing off anyway. But I turned up at choir practice one evening. They said to me, oh, Alfie, because that was my sort of nickname. There's a new boy joining. I said, oh, yeah. They said, he thinks he's clever. He goes to a grammar school. They said, go on, ask him some questions. But I just started doing science, you see, and I heard about electrons and neutrons and protons and things. So I said, oh, OK. I said, I'll ask him a few questions. Let's see how much he knows, you know. So Bob was standing there in his school Mac, leaning up against the church hall. And I said, oh, hello, you know. And I said, oh, my first name's Brian, you know. What's your name? Oh, Colin. I said, all right. I said, do you go to a good school, do you? He said, yes, quite good. I said, oh, do you know about atoms and things? And he said, yes. They have a neutron and a proton and electrons and they turned to me and they said, what's he like? I said, well, he seems to be all right, actually, you know, and that was it. Something I never found out from you, you just mentioned it. You said your mum said you liked singing. No, I didn't even get in the school choir, which rather miffed me. Miffed is a nice old 50s word, you know. Yeah. Did you sing in the school choir?
Yeah, I sang in the church choir, the school choir and the chapel choir.
You might have told me before.
I was really into it,
back,
you know.
So you really did sing the school choir?
Oh, yes, yeah, I was really into it.
I remember being at my last, well, that was when I got up to 16, and they got boys to do things in the school concert at the end of the school. I was too shy even to take part. But I watched this prefect singing a pop song from the charts, and I remember thinking, why didn't I enter or apply? I thought, I can sing as well as him. And that was the first time I remember thinking to myself, I reckon I could do singing. I didn't know you were in the school choir. Yeah, that was at 10?
Well, 11, yeah, 11, 12,
Oh, that was
13.
after you joined St Dionysus.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
but not before that. How did your mum know you had a nice voice then?
I don't know, I used to sing in the hop fields and all that sort of stuff when I was a little boy in the country when I was with my granny in Kent in the country.
See, there's always something new to find out, you see, isn't
there? It's amazing, isn't it? We've only known each other how many years?
60 years?
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Yeah, but it's still like it was not very long ago. It's just some message from me. It's all right, don't worry about it. Modern technology, it's obtrusive. But anyway, yeah, so that was our start. We met at the church choir and we sort of hit it off straight away. We started talking to each other and I'd ask him things about school and he'd ask me, you know. And then I found out he got some table tennis there and I liked table. I went round to his house and played table tennis just on the dining room table. And then we both had bikes. No, I never didn't have a bike straight away. I didn't get a bike till I was 15, but we ended up going for cycle rides together, you know. But the choir became like a boys' club and we had a very advanced, nice vicar. He organised a youth club for us in the church hall and lots of activities in the church. And we never thought of it as sort of oppressively religious. It was just
No,
like
it
a
wasn't.
fun thing to go
It
to.
was like a boys' club, a
Yeah.
club, a youth club.
And we
really,
used to
wasn't it?
lark about, you know. I mean, there was a big green outside Parsons Green, and we used to go and play hide and seek on it, you know, and it was good fun.
And there was a piano, an old piano. You could play. Some people played
Oh,
piano.
in the youth club, yeah.
And table tennis and all
But
that.
that didn't happen straight away. We
No.
obviously found, of course, we had lots of homework and things to do, you know.
So moving on, what happened? What was the next step?
Yeah. Well, I think the next thing, getting into music, was John was mucking about on his guitar, and he taught me to play guitar.
Yeah, but what happened about that was almost at the same time, Bob was taken out of the choir by his parents to prepare for school exams, and almost at the same moment, my mum, who was doing domestic work for an artist around the corner, and I was in the Scouts, Cubs and Scouts, and I used to do Bob a job, and I'd borrowed the vicar's shears to do hedge clipping to try and pocket money. And she came around one day and said, oh, this artist I'm working for, he's got a very big garden and he can't cope with it. And I've told him you like gardening. I reckon you could go around there and work for him. So I went down to ask for a job and he said yes. I got £1 an hour, just clipping his grass and digging the flower bed and so on. And I like art as well. And one day, and this is just about all the same period, Bob was out of the choir and I saw this guitar. Lonnie Donegan was all the rage, 1957, you know.
I may be right, I may be wrong. I know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Down the rock and the line, keep the mighty good road. Well, the rock and the line is the road to ride. Yeah, the rock and the line, keep the mighty good road. And if you want to ride, you got to ride it like a fighting. Get your ticket at the station on the rock and the line.
Rock on the line, rock on the line.
We were all poor, and you also didn't go to a shop to buy things. You hoped to find something in the street, pick it up at a jumble sale, or be given it, you know. So I took a break from the gardening, and I was standing in his studio doors looking at his paintings. I think, oh, he's very good, isn't he? And I saw this guitar, and he goes, well, a guitar. Well, I thought, it was in some of the paintings. I thought, well, he's painted it, he knows what it looks like. I wonder if he'd sell it to me. So I went and had a word with him. And he agreed to sell it to me for so many hours gardening and so on, you know. And that was it. I thought, well, because I'd realised I wanted to be a singer, but if you didn't know any musicians, how could you sing? You needed something to sing to.
Yeah.
And the pop music business hadn't really taken off very much in Britain. You thought, well, you'd have to sing in a dance hall with a dance band or something, you know. But where do I find one, you know? So anyway, so I got the guitar, learned over a few months to teach myself how to play a few chords and so on, learned a few guitar chords from a jazz guitarist and so on, who was rehearsing in the church hall. The vicar put me onto him. And what happened first of all, while Bob was out of the choir, another boy and myself decided to form a skiffle group.
String bass playing in here. Oh, no, she don't. Mama don't allow no string bass playing in here. Well, we don't care what Mama don't allow. Gonna play that string bass any old how. Mama don't allow no string bass playing in here.
So 2 guitars, a tea-chest broomstick bass, and the other guitarist's brother played the washboard. We started a skiffle group, and almost immediately I started writing songs, purely by accident. And then that didn't last very long. Bob then rejoined the choir, but I'd already got the group going, so we hadn't got any plans, you know, we hadn't got anything in mind. And Bob was a bit curious, but at that age, when you're like, I was 18, he was only 16, he was still at school, you didn't mix quite so much socially, you know, so it was not surprising that we didn't have so much to do with each other. And the other bloke and myself, we split off from the skiffle group, which we called the Shadows. That was in late 1957. And then we broke off from that. We became the Shadow Brothers, did a couple of things. We did a couple of Carol Levis TV Discovery shows at the Finsbury Park Empire, didn't lead anywhere. And then his girlfriend got fed up with him spending all his time with me rehearsing. And he said, oh, I think perhaps I'm going to stop doing it, you know. So I said, oh, all right. It was about January 59. So I did a couple of things with these jazz guitarists, and they said to me, harmony would sound better, you know, because all the pop songs coming out had a bit of harmony on the background. So I said, well, I've got another friend. Bob had rejoined the choir. So I said to Bob, would you like to sing with me? I said, we'll work out some harmonies together, and I think we can get a few bookings.
By this time I was 17, so I was sort of getting into it.
Yeah. And basically, I was the one who was more active at that point, you know. So to start with, Bob just used to come round to my house and we'd work out some songs together. And I'd play him a couple that I'd written, you know. So that sounds good, let's work it out, you know. That's basically how it started. I mean, that's up to that point. Yeah, that was roughly mid-59, July, August 59. And then we said, well, we're going to do this seriously. We're going to try and get some bookings. We weren't quite sure what we were going to do. Well, I have a name. Because I'd been the Shadows and then the Shadow Brothers. And just to explain, Cliff Richard's group, the Drifters, didn't change their name to the Shadows until September 1959. So we had it first. So I'd been the Shadows, the Shadow Brothers, then Bob joined me. We said, what should we do? I said, right, we sing in harmony, so we became the Harmonias. That didn't last very long, so now that sounds like moaning. Oh no, but we sing harmony to chords, so we'll be the harmonic chords.
Yeah,
that didn't last long either. And I said, leave it to me. So I got this book I'd been reading in '59 called Tammerhain. And I read through it, and I was just reading. It's about a South Sea Island girl whose father was a missionary, and she comes back to live with her English parents in Devon. And they run a boarding school, and she creates havoc because she's Hawaiian or South Sea Island. She believes in free love, and why are people so prudish in this country? And I thought, wow, this sounds pretty good. So I read through that, and the daughter of the headmaster was called Allison. And I thought, Allison, because I'd made a list of words. I said, well, look at this. I've got the Bullets, the Hawks, the Ravens. We've got to pick a name, something that stands out. And I saw this name Allison, and I thought, playing around with words, I was used to using words, I was writing songs, so I thought, Allison, that sounds good. If I had another L to make it a male version, we'd been the Shadow Brothers, now we can be the Allison Brothers. And that's how I said to Bob, what do you think about that? So we agreed on that. I said, well, we'll call ourselves the Allison Brothers. And that was basically how that started. And then we started making tapes and sending them to record companies, thinking, well, we sound as good as these records. I bought a tape recorder, a reel-to-reel tape recorder, and we started recording our voices, being amazed at this stuff. You know, we were getting all the new technology, because my dad never had a car, we never had a television. I bought a camera, a reel-to-reel tape recorder, a guitar. I thought, wow, all these modern gadgets, a record player, all these modern inventions. It's amazing, nobody had had them before, you know.
And at that time, everybody was brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
There were the Everly brothers, the Beverly sisters, the Andrews sisters,
The Kaelin
twins.
Yeah.
So it was natural.
The Dallas boys.
Dallas, yeah.
So it was just a name.
The King
you know.
brothers.
We didn't remember pretending anything,
No,
you know.
so we
Well,
became the Allison
sounds
brothers.
Good, you know, yeah.
Even though we weren't really brothers, it didn't matter. We dressed alike,
We just
had
thought,
the same hairstyle.
basically,
All that.
we hadn't got any ambitions to be famous pop singers. We just thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to make a record? I wonder, that was the ambition, to make a record singular. I wonder if we can do it. I wonder if we can persuade them. And of course, society and the culture of the country were very different at the time. It's like 5 or 6 major record labels, 3 radio channels, you know, Home Light and Third,
That's
2
right,
TV
yeah.
channels,
2 TV channels.
you know, and respect for your elders, respect authority, do as you're told. The age of authority was 21, wasn't it? You know.
That's right, yeah, signing
So
contracts.
it was just a hobby to see if we could do it. I mean, Bob had to leave school and join a job, didn't you, eventually in 1960?
That's
so he had to
right,
start. We just thought, well, it'll be a hobby. Let's see if we can pull it off and make a record. And if we never do anything else, we can say, well, we made a record, you know, show the fellas in the street, you know, our friends and so on. And perhaps have to knuckle down and do a job anyway. Perhaps it'd be something we do at the weekends, just singing in dance halls and ballrooms, you know. Had any expectations to have a hit record, that would have been unbelievable.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, even when we were trying to try it, Cliff was a big star. Lonnie Donegan, Tommy Steele, Marty Wilde, Elvis, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Gene Vincent. How could we possibly join them, you know?
It was like a hobby, really,
Yeah.
but with aspirations, with hopes and aspirations that we might become bigger.
And it gave us a bit of, we wouldn't have thought of the word at the time, a bit of kudos with girlfriends and things. You know? Well, in actual fact, I'd had a break-up with my first serious girlfriend, and I was so heartbroken. I thought, that's it for me. I said to Bob, I'm never having another girlfriend until I'm famous. I'll give it 2 years, I'm really going to try. And until then, they can stay out of it, because I can't cope with both at the same time, you know.
Right, exactly.
My first singing partner, he had ditched it because his girlfriend said, no, it's either me or him. You're spending more time with him with me. So I said, no, it's not happening to me. I'm going to really concentrate on it, you know. Just see if we can pull it off. I mean, I was still going to college and doing homework 2 nights a week. How do you find time to be a singer? And my mum and dad sort of saying, are you going upstairs to do more of that plinky plink on the guitar, you know? That's what they thought of it.
I know.
What do you mean you want to be a singer? You know,
Nobody took it very seriously.
Get yourself a proper job. What my mum said, what you want is security, you know. She said, plastics or electronics or the civil service. That's what civil service gives you a pension when you retire. I thought, oh, don't start talking about retirement. I've hardly started work. Electronics and plastics, well, I don't know anything about those. I thought, well, I'll stay where I am for the minute. I was in an engineering company, you know. And basically, that was it. It was just for fun. Do something different. What do you do? Oh, I play guitar in my spare time. Wow, you know.
Yeah. Nice.
It was a laugh.
It's
you know.
exciting, something different.
yeah.
Yeah. Much more exciting than the run-of-the-mill
And we were still
job.
singing in the choir, you know, still doing the choir practices and the services on Sunday and so on. And our choir master was a bit amused. You know, I think we did a couple of shows in the church hall. I did with my previous partner, the Shadow Brothers, you know, and then Bob and I sang it just in the youth club, you know, just for fun. But it was something different. Nobody else was doing it. You know, not in our circle, you know. And oh, you're good. You want to write up? Do you remember? We used to go down to the tunnels at South Ken and sing in the pedestrian arches because it was all nice and echo.
It's still there, that tunnel, you know, between South Kensington Station and the museums. I mean, there's a big tunnel along there.
Well, you just liked it because people used to stop and listen and say, oh, you're very good, you know, and said, yeah, you know. And there was a small tunnel under Putney Bridge where you could do it, tiled with white tiles. And if you got yourself right in the middle, you could make your voice sound like a record.
It sounded like an echo chamber.
Yeah.
You know, because in those days, people didn't know how you made records. No. They thought that sound came from what they called, they're in the echo chamber.
Yeah,
well, there is no echo chamber. They add that afterwards.
We didn't have, and we still didn't have any electrical equipment. And I remember I got in my diary trying to save up for a microphone. I never did I got the microphone, but I couldn't afford the stand, you know. But we was just acoustic guitars, you know. And I thought to myself, well, I think we sound good when we're on air, right? I had a little echo thing on my tape recorder, and we sounded good. I thought to myself, well, how can we persuade anybody to make a record?
Wow,
that was the big mystery. How do you make that jump from being an unknown person, working class in a back street in Fulham in London, and get onto a record label? And we didn't know anything. We didn't know about the next stage. We had no idea. Didn't know about publicity agents. I mean, nobody in my family had. Somebody said to me, why didn't you keep control of the money? I said, keep control of the money? What do you think I had? A post office book and a bike. I'd never been in a bank in my life. I'd never been in a taxi in my life. And I'd never been in a restaurant. What, somebody waits on you? Can I get you any food, sir? Most I ever did was go in a cafe. A cup of tea and a sandwich, and perhaps some fish and chips.
Local cafe, yeah, that's what we did. Yeah, so.
To refer to the period when we were deciding that perhaps we might approach it more seriously, and make some efforts to get into the music business, we sat at home mostly and talked about it. And I vaguely remember saying to Bob in a conversation, it seems to me, because we didn't have very much access to what's called the media now. My dad got the Daily Mirror every day. I don't know what your dad got. What did your dad?
I don't think we got a paper at all.
You didn't get a paper. No. My dad got the Daily Mirror. My dad controlled the wireless. We didn't have a telly. And all I got every week was the New Musical Express. Yeah. So I read the articles and I said to Bob, well, look, it's all very well doing these coffee bars and sending tapes off to companies and doing the odd dance hall and the church hall shows and the town hall. I said, it seems to me a lot of singers are being discovered singing in coffee bars.
Yes.
We hadn't done one at that point.
No.
This was all 1959. I said, it seems to me that a lot of things are going on up in Soho. Bob said, oh, Soho. Now, as I say, our parents very much kept a tight hold on us. I was only 19, Bob was 17. In Soho. I said, well, perhaps we ought to go up there and see what's going on. You know,
it had a bad reputation. This Soho.
I mean,
were strip joints and all sorts of things were going
gangsters,
on.
Muggers, criminals, drug taking. And I'm going to tell you something that you probably never heard me say. I don't know if I ever mentioned it before. I used to hear my mum and dad talking about things, and they used to get the Daily Mirror during the week, and on Sunday they got the Sunday Pictorial and the News of the World. Shock horror, Vicar and Tart.
Yes, that's right.
And I used to grab a chance to look at it when they weren't looking, you know. And my mum said, because at the age of 14, I was going up to Victoria Station. One way of making money was to go and carry bags for passengers coming off trains. And I had the porters chasing me off and say, we're taking our jobs, get out of it, you know. And of course I'd tell Mum, I said, no, you don't go up there anymore. So, you know, you go up to that part of town, Charing Cross and Victoria, it's all a bit seedy at night. We don't have you going up there. Right, so when we sort of said, well, we'll go up to Soho. So I know when I told my mum, I said, she said, I'm going out, Mum. She said, where are you going? I said, well, Bob and I thought we'd go up Soho. Where? She said, you're not going up there. I said, well, just have a look round, see the coffee bars and see what's happening. I said, a lot of singers are being discovered. You don't need all that. She said, you're not serious about that, are you? And I said, yeah. And she went all through this business. And she said, there are prostitutes out there, straight women and things. You know, strange women and it's ill repute. You'll get yourselves into trouble. I said, no, don't worry about that, Mum. I said, I won't do anything like that. What are you talking about?
Shocking goings on, shocking.
Shocking goings on, yeah. Despicable things. And then my mum mentioned something. She said, haven't you heard about the white slave traders?
Oh, God.
And I said, what?
Hey?
She said, the white slave traders. And I said, what's that, Mum? And she said, well, it's not just women and girls they steal. She said, don't respond to anybody talking to you from a dark doorway or an alleyway. I said, why? So they pull you in and drug you, or stick needles in you, and you're dragged off, and they pack you in a case or a trunk or something, and when you wake up, you're in a foreign country.
You're in Egypt or something.
Yeah, some Arab country, and you become a slave. It happens to boys as well as girls. I said, really, what are they called? She said, the white slave traders. I thought, it's true. As if there wasn't enough to worry about.
Yeah, it's all in the pictorial. It's all in the news
I said, well,
of the
be
world.
very careful, don't worry, Mum. You know, I've seen it in the News of the World. It all goes on, you know. them gangsters and robbers and muggers and drugs and things. She said, don't you get involved in anything? I said, no, well, just look, Mum, okay? Well, stand on the pavement and just look. You know, so we were taking our lives in our hands against parental advice to a den of iniquity, you know.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
A place of ill repute.
A place of ill repute.
And the white slave traders did it. Oh, my crikey.
Oh, God, yeah.
Watch out. Don't respond to anybody talking, hey, son, come down here, I want to show you something.
No,
I'm not going in there.
Don't take any notice of them.
Don't answer. And we felt braver going up together. And we took a third friend with us, so we all stay together. All wandering off, right?
Yeah.
And there's Italian restaurants and Chinese restaurants and Indian restaurants, you know.
Coffee bars
and Greek restaurants.
Oh my goodness.
But where are these singing groups? We couldn't actually see very much. But we'd heard about the Two Eyes. And I said, well, look, several people have been discovered there. Apparently there's Tommy Steele,
I
there, you know, and a few others. Let's try and find it.
Yes.
It wasn't easy to get any information. But I don't remember seeing in the Daily Mirror about the Two Eyes coffee bar, you know, but I'd heard about it.
Yeah.
So we went up on the underground train and we wandered about. And there's all strange music coming up, steam and strange bits of smoke and
girls in doorways.
Red lamp. Hello, darling. Come on up. Don't answer. As pure as the driven snow we were, you know, really? And just as empty-headed, you know, sort of thing. Anyway, we found it in the end. We knocked on the doors. Well, it was a doorman sort of thing, you know. So can we go in? He said, well, are you members? I said, members? You have to be a member of a coffee bar. Yeah, well, you want to go downstairs, you've got to be a member. So, oh, I see. But you got to remember, a shilling then was equal to £1 now. He said, how much is it to come in then? It's a shilling. Oh, a shilling. I said, well, I'll pay then. Can we go on my ticket? He said, yeah, okay. So he said, okay, well, all right. He gave us a ticket. Put your name on there. Right, okay, all right. Down you go then. So we went down.
He's got the ticket somewhere.
I've got my membership card. But luckily, because I am like a squirrel, I've even got my school reports and I've got drawings I did at school and I kept them all and I've got a drawer full of stuff, you know. But I didn't think of it then. It was just another ticket. I put it in my pocket and we went down and it was a little basement. I said, is this nothing happening? No singing, just some music playing on a speaker and some lights, you know. And I think there was a small bar down there. I remember we bought a coffee.
Yeah.
We said to some bloke, we said, anything on tonight? He said, no, not tonight. So where's the manager? Oh, he's out. Oh, why? Well, we're singers.
Well, we wanted to sing down there.
Can we have an audition? Something? He said, well, you'll have to come back. He's not here now. Oh, right, okay. Do you know when he'll be back? Well, he's in and out all the time, you know. Oh, okay then. So we wandered off, you know. Well, I think probably on that first occasion, nothing much happened. We went up again and he wasn't in, you know. And it was just me. I just had this Portuguese guitar at the time and he wasn't in a second time. We got a bit fed up. So we wandered down the road, went round the corner, and we saw another coffee bar, the Top 10 Coffee Bar Club, and it had an easel on the pavement. And it said, here, next week, this coffee bar talent contest. I said, they are? Well, let's go in for that then. We can go in. We went in and spoke to the manager. He put our names down on the list, you know. I said, OK, what time do we have to be here? So we'll get here by about 7:30, a week today, you know. I said, all right, OK, right. So we went home. And we said, well, we'll do that and see what happens. We'll sod the Two Eyes, you know, if he's never there sort of thing. And when we go there. So in between, I was going over to a jazz guitarist on the edge of Clapham Common at the time. And he was showing me things and I was showing him what I could play. And I think I must have played him a few songs. I said, I'm writing some songs and I played them to him. Oh, he said, that one's quite good, you know. So went back to him for another guitar lesson about that. And I said, we've entered the talent contest, you know. I said, all right. He said, what are you going to sing? I said, well, I'm not quite sure. He said, well, do that one you played me. That, are you sure? I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, but protect it. I said, how do I do that? He said, well, write out you've got it written down, have you? I said, well, no, only the words and the chords written underneath. He said, well, if you can write some music out, he said, you put it in an envelope and you post it to yourself in a registered envelope with a blue line around it, right? He said, then it comes to your house, you don't open it. If after that, after you've sung it in public and you hear somebody singing it, you know they've pinched your song. And if you've got it in an envelope unsealed, you know, it's still sealed up, you have an unbroken, you can prove you wrote it. So I said, all right. So the day of the contest we were going to go down, I went up to the post office, you know, at New Kings Road there. I'd written it out the night before as best as I could on a Woolworths notepad. And I thought, well, I know how the tune goes, but I couldn't write it properly. And I wrote the lyrics underneath. I thought, well, good luck, you know. Put it in this envelope, up to the post office, send this registered mail to me. And that was in the morning. Went off to work. Met him in the evening, caught the underground train up to Soho, went straight to the Top 10 Club, went in, waited our turn, stood behind, well, I don't mean, it was a microphone, just stood at the
Just
end of
a
the coffee
mic.
bar and just sang to the
Yeah.
customers. Well, they all went sort of crazy, sort of running around, saying, oh, you're fantastic, oh, you're great, you're definitely the winners, you know. Really? Oh, what do we get?
Goodbye, farewell, I'm not sure what to do. So long, au revoir. It's hard, but I'll pull through. Are you sure you won't be sorry comes tomorrow? You won't want me back again to hold you tight.